start with that. Just start like this. Easiest way to do it is start this. A is always first. Okay, so now you know that this is first. The distance from your center, and you know your center is 0, 0, so you can take those out with zeros. The distance from your center to your vertice is your A, and that would be 2. Now you know this guy, so you know A is 2. Okay, then they give you your foci points. Your foci are at 0, 4, and 0, negative 4, because your hyperbola is opening up and opening down. So now, the distance from 0 to 4, that gives you C. So now you've got your A, your C, and you can find your B. All you need to do is find your B squared. Just find B squared. That's the only thing you need to find here, and plug this in. And now you have your whole equation. Y squared over 4 minus x squared over 12 equals 1. Just start with your shell first, the basic equation. Fill in the parts as you go. Okay? Okay. We're going to come back and do the asymptotes in a minute. All right, again, your vertices are at 2, 0, 6, 0. So as soon as you plot these guys, it tells you you have an x transversal. Start this way. A always comes first in the subtract. So just start like this. Okay, so you know this is the way it's going to be set up. Find the average of the vertices, the average of 2 plus 6, add it, divide by 2, it's 4, 0. So your center is at 4, 0. Now you can plug this in. You're okay, Pepsi. You have to see Miss Hurtado later too. Okay, so start like this, and you're good so far. Now you can find your distance from your center to your vertex, which is 2. Oh, we can fill this in. So we know A is 2. Now all we need to know for this is B squared. But they gave us your foci again. So from 0, 0 and 0, 8, from here to here, C is 4. Again, all you need to do is find B squared. You only need B squared. And now you have your whole equation. One step at a time. One little part of the puzzle at a time. As they give you something, fill it in. Okay, and then you end up with this when you finish. Next one, again, vertices at 4, 1, 4, 9. You have a Y transversal, and your center is smack in the middle. So start off this way. Okay, so now, find your center. Your average is going to be 4, 5. There's your center. So 4, 5. You start with your pieces. The distance from your center to your vertex, that's A. That's 4. Okay. And they give you, again, your focus points. That's C. So you find your C. Now all you need to do is find your B squared. And you can just leave these in and find B squared was 9. And put that in. This is 3 squared. Make it be 9. And now you have your equation. Make sense? You just work one step at a time.
These are just one equation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and this one, a little tougher. Okay, so we start with your vertices. So your vertices tell us it's a Y. So we're going to start with your Y first. Okay, so now we're going to fill them in. Your center, find your average of your 2, is at the 2, 0. So plug in 2, 0. You can find A, the distance from your center to your vertice, 3. Okay. Now, so far you've got this. Y squared over 9 minus x minus 2 squared over B squared equals 1. They didn't give us a C. We don't have C. They didn't give us anything about the B, but they told us that somewhere this passes through the 0, 5. Right there, it passes through the 0, 5. That's a point that satisfies this equation. So all you have to do, like we did with your parabola, was take this, make it an xy point, and substitute in for the x, substitute in a 0, for the y, substitute in a 5. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit messy. So we're going to get y squared 25 over 9 minus 4 over b squared equals 1. Okay. Now, you can find your common denominator, but I think the easier part is subtract this from both sides. You can do this on your calculator because it has no variables in it. So subtract this, and then set this equal and cross multiply. So what is this going to give you? Negative 16 over 9. And then cross multiply. And then you should find b squared. And all you need is b squared. And it's okay that it's a fraction. You can still use a fraction in here. Did I subtract it right? 9 over 9. Yeah. Alright, so there, and then just plug it back in. That one probably had a little bit more work to it than the rest of them, but it's the same concept as when we did the parabola. Okay with that? Alright. Any other questions? Alright. Let's go back to that problem that we had yesterday that we didn't finish on the classwork part. It was where we gave you asymptotes, and then we'll go to the asymptotes for your problem. We need to find the standard form of the equation of a hyperbola with vertices at 3, 1 and 3, negative 5. So 3, 1 and 3, negative 5. So what's the major axis for this guy? The y-axis. So I'm going to start like this. Now, you can find your center because it gave you the vertices. Sometimes it doesn't give you the vertices and it doesn't give you some other information. You can always take your two asymptotes, graph them in your calculator, and find where they intersect. That's the center of your hyperbola. Because if you think about it, whenever you make that box around anything, you make the box and you put your asymptotes through it, it crosses at the center. So if you wanted to, you could graph 2x minus 8 and negative 2x plus 4 and find your center if you didn't see it, with your vertices. This was nice, we can find it with your vertices, but you can always find it with your asymptotes as well. Somewhere through here is your asymptotes are crossing. So now, can you find me the center for this? Take the average. 3, negative 2. Okay, so the x is 3, and this is going to be a plus 2. Alright, and now can you find the distance from your center to your vertice? 3. This is going to be 3 squared, so we know a. Right, so far we have this. Okay, so we've got to find b. Somewhere along the line we have to find b. Now, if you remember back, you have that little equation. And when we found the slope of your equation, remember when we did this guy? This was the slope of your equation. So if we set this thing equal to the slope, we take our y denominator. Now this is what's important. Under your y, you have to know which one is the a, which one is the b. Under the y is the a. If my major axis was my x, under the x is a. Whoever comes first is the a. So if I'm going to do this, I'm actually looking for this corresponds to a, this corresponds to b. Under the x denominator is my b. Take the square root, with my b squared, take the square root is my b. Under the y denominator is a squared. To the left, you take the square root, it's your a. So your slope is equal to a over b. So pull one of these out. Probably the easier one is the positive one. Your slope is 2 over 1. You know your a is 3. We don't know b. We can find b. Because normally when b is there, we pull that out and we make the slope for your equation. We're just backtracking. So we cross multiply, and it doesn't have to be a regular, it can be a fraction. Divide by 2. B is 3 halves. Now when you plug in 3 halves, don't forget to square it. So this becomes 9 over 4. If you want to, you can take the 4 and bring it to the top. If you don't, you can leave it in the denominator. So we're going to get y plus 2 squared over 9 minus x minus 3 squared over 9 fourths. And if you wanted to, you can bring that 4 up into the numerator. But I told you can leave it in the denominator. So remember, in math equation, we're looking for the slope. Your slope is the change in y over the change in x. So you have to know which one is your y, which one is your x, in order for you to do that. Make sense? Matthew?
When you did the slope, how do you get this to?
So I took it out of here. This was your y equals mx plus b. I took your slope out of here. Because eventually, when you did that equation, that was where our slope came from. Your change in y over your change in x. We just don't distribute it and collect the like terms. I told you can leave it in that format. But if you were to distribute it, it would look like 2 separate equations. Okay? All right, let's try one from your homework. And one of these would be nice because it has a 0, 0 center. So maybe that would be easier to spot. So let me see which one. Okay. Go to number 33 on your homework. Yeah, so does 33. 35 has a 0, 0 also. Okay. I'll do 33, and then you guys can do 35, because it's almost the same type, and then we'll do the last one together. Okay, again, start graphing first. You need to know which one is the major axis. So my vertices are at 1, 0 and negative 1, 0. Which is my major axis? X. So you have to know which letter is under which. Start like this with your cell here. Now you know your center. What's your center for this? 0, 0. Here's your asymptotes. If you graph those, look where the intercept is. If we do plus b, the intercept is at 0. If I graph them, they're going to cross right here at the 0, 0. That also gives me my center, where they intersect. So I know my center is 0, 0, so I can take this out. And the distance from my center to my vertice is what? 1. So I know A is 1. 1 squared, 1. So far I'm okay. Now, in your formula, when you do this, this is your slope right here. Change in y over the change in x. My y denominator this time is my b. My x denominator this time is my a. So my slope is b over a. My slope is b over a. Good so far? So give me a slope from one of those lines. 5 over 1. So we'll use the positive. So it's easier sometimes to use the positive. We're going to square it down here anyway, so it doesn't matter, but it's easier to use a positive. So 5 over 1 is b over a, and we know a is 1. We found a to be 1. So cross multiply, and b is 5. So now all we have to do is come back here and plug this in. So we have x squared over 1 minus y squared over 25 equals 1. You don't need the x squared over 1, but I like to put the over 1 because this way you realize that it has a denominator and that a was 1. You technically don't need it over 1, but if it's in a hyperbolic format, I like it better. Okay, does it make a little sense? That's it. You just have to use what you're given to work with. So you have to kind of take one step at a time. The most important part is to start with your equation once you figure out who's the major axis. Because the last one we did had a y. So the denominator under the y was the a. This time x is our major axis. The denominator under the x now is our a. That makes a big difference when you do this, because the slope is still changing y over changing x.
So you're just finding the standard form of the equation?
Yep. Okay?
And the A is just the center.
And the a is the distance from the center to the vertices. And you only have one more, right? This one's a little bit difficult. So let's do this one together. Yeah. Well, because it's a foci, it's not an A or a B. Yeah. So let's do this one together. So it's 0, 8, and it's 0, negative 8. So the foci gives us the distance from the center to the foci is your C. What's the center? Yeah, so that was nice too. Center was 0, 0. So somewhere up here, your parabola is turning, right? Your hyperbola is going. So what's your major axis? Y. And our center is 0, 0, so we're going to start like this. Okay? I just took the x minus h, made it 0, because we said 0, 0. This one's a little bit tougher. So now we know C. And what's the distance for C? Okay. God bless you. Again, they gave us your asymptote. So we've got two asymptotes. Y is equal to 4x. Y is equal to negative 4x. Now, guys, sometimes you can even cheat a little bit and find out some of your distances, but this one you really, really can't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to your equation. This is where your slope is. And under your y denominator, what letter is under the y? A. What letter is under the x? B. Okay. So we know your slope. All right. Good so far? So we're going to cross multiply. Now, I realize this doesn't help us too much, but we do have a formula with C. We know C. We don't know A or B. We do know that A is equal to 4B. So if I interchange the A with the 4B, can I do the 4B squared and B squared together? Can I do that? I need one variable here. So if I use this, I can take out my A and put in 4b. I still have to square it, plus b squared. I'm just replacing A with 4b, so I get one variable. I'm substituting it in. We have to use what we're given. So we get 64 is equal to 16. Don't forget to square the 4. B squared plus b squared. 17b squared. We're going to divide by 17. And then we're going to have to take the square root of this. Okay, so we're going to take the square root of this pretty little number. And this is your b. I really don't care too much about that because I'm going to still put my b squared in here. My b squared can slide right into here. The only thing is I kind of need that other one to find my a because I know what a is now. So then you can just take your a and multiply 4 times this mess. And then square it to get it in here. So 32 squared, I have to look at that one, is 1024. And then 17 squared is 17. So this one would be a messy one. This one's a messy one. And if you want to, you can put the both 17s on top. Technically you should, but I'm okay if you leave them in the denominator. Technically, you should bring this 17 up on top, but you can leave those in the denominator. This one was a tough one. This one was a little tougher than the other ones. But the whole concept comes right from here, is your slope. Your slope of any line is your change in y over your change in x. What you have to determine is, where is your x? Is it the first term or the second term? Where's your y? Did you find that on your phone the right way? Did you found the same thing we're doing here? Nope, put it away. Put it away. I do not want to see phones out in here. Don't make me take them away. Especially since I hate dealing with administration when it comes to taking the phone away. Alright. Any questions on this?